Tony had always been a dedicated worker, but tonight, his dedication was putting him in a situation he would never forget. He had been toiling away at his office, crunching numbers and sifting through endless spreadsheets. The clock on the wall taunted him as it ticked past midnight, and the office building was now an empty, echoing space. As he stared at his computer screen, the room grew cold, and the lights flickered. Tony shook his head, thinking it was just exhaustion playing tricks on his mind. He needed to finish this report and get some rest. But then, a chilling breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the lamp on his desk. Tony's heart raced as he fumbled for his phone, the only source of light now. He cursed himself for not leaving earlier, for letting his dedication to his job put him in this eerie predicament. As he typed the final words of the report, Tony heard a faint whisper. It was like a distant, mournful voice calling his name. He froze, the hairs on his neck standing on end. He knew he was alone in the office, or at least, he thought he was. The shadows in the corner of the room seemed to come alive, taking on sinister shapes. Tony's breath quickened as he watched, horrified, as the ghostly figure of a woman materialized before him. Her pale face was twisted in anguish, and her eyes, filled with sorrow, bore into his soul. "Help me," she whispered, her voice a haunting echo. "Please, help me." Tony tried to speak, but his voice failed him. He was paralyzed with fear as the ghostly woman drifted closer, her ethereal fingers reaching out toward him. Suddenly, the office door slammed shut with a deafening bang, and Tony was plunged into darkness. Panic overwhelmed him as he desperately searched for the door. He could hear the ghostly woman's voice growing louder, her pleas more desperate. "Help me, Tony. Don't leave me here." With trembling hands, Tony found the doorknob and yanked the door open. He bolted into the corridor, not looking back. The office building was now an eerie maze of shadows and strange noises. He could hear whispers and cries from all directions. Tony finally burst through the building's front door, gasping for breath. The night air had never felt so refreshing. He glanced back at the darkened office building, a shiver running down his spine. As he made his way home, Tony couldn't shake the feeling that the ghostly encounter had been real. He didn't know who the woman was or why she had sought his help, but he knew one thing for sure: he would never work late in that office again, no matter how dedicated he was to his job. Some things were more important than work, and his own safety was one of them.